So someone came and asked me, how do I understand my trauma? And sometimes you just can't really understand it. Sometimes it's just acceptance. And acceptance is half of the battle. In everything, much of the anxiety, the PTSD, the depression that happens in our life is because of the story that we repeat over and over again. For example, why did I have these parents? Why did I have to be born poor? Why am I part of a big family? Be in a war zone? Or sometimes it can just be the detail about a specific situation. So why did I have to go to that party? Why did I have to say this? I should have said that. If I did that, then this would have happened. Replay the situation that give us anxiety over and over and think, if I was not put in this situation, this outcome would have never happened. And the reason why we do this, it's for protection. We think that we can prevent harm from happening to us. But no matter how much we think about it or how hard we think of ways to avoid it, the truth of the matter is that nothing really changes. No matter how much we think about the trauma, it won't go away. Because thinking about it, that part keeps it stuck in our system. We are what we think. So the only way to get past trauma is to stop thinking about trauma. And the prerequisite of that is acceptance. And we're going to go over two principles that will stabilize your nervous system and give you the ability to live in the present and not the past. First, you have to understand God's will. God has 13 attributes, one being will. And how do we know of this attribute? Ask yourself, why are the trees green and not yellow? Why do I have two arms and not four? Why is the sun yellow and not green? These are questions that we used to ask ourselves when we were little. The sun could have been green, the trees could have been yellow, and it's a possibility that we could have had four arms instead of two. But why those specific attributes? The answer is God's will. The Creator creates, and He specifies the characteristics of those creation for a specific wisdom. The Creator wills for events to happen or not happen. So there are events in your life that you did not choose. This includes your family, your parents, your culture, the era that you were born in, and even location of birth. And these are some reasons why the trauma manifests. So realize this: you did not choose your parents. You did not choose when you were born, the number of siblings that you have, and even where you were born, the location. All of these things, every single thing that you did not choose, is called predestination. So this is the situation that God put you in, and there's nothing that you can do about it. That's where it starts. Just realize there's absolutely nothing that you can do about it. And again, what is the evidence? Well, you tell me, what are you going to do about it? What can you do about it? Can you go back in time and change your parents? Can you change where you were born? Can you change the people that you can run into, the culture that you were born in? Whatever it is that's causing you harm, can you change it? The answer is you can't. You can't go against the will of God, no matter how much you think, no matter how much you regret, no matter how much you are in pain. It's impossible to fight and overcome God's will. It engulfs you. So once you accept this principle, once you submit to this principle, all there's left to do is to accept, realize that this is your reality and just let it go. These are the cards that you will dealt with, and there's nothing that you can do about it. And in this statement, the heart finds comfort and relief because now you can't change what you can't change. And in acceptance, you stop replaying the possibility that you can change your path, and you stop playing the possibility that you can prevent harm. You could have prevented the situation from happening because there's nothing that you could have done with these factors that would have changed your situation in your life right now. So your mind and your heart goes from, what can I do to change my past so this will not happen again? What can I do so I'm never in harm again? What could I have done to prevent harm to, this is my situation. This is my reality. Now what, right? You go from being a victim to an action taker, from rejecting reality to facing it, from past to present. The second principle you have to accept is that you cannot prevent harm. There's no such thing as preventing harm. The reason for replaying trauma again is that you are trying to find a way to prevent harm from happening. Ultimately, you don't want to feel pain. But it doesn't matter where you are, what you're doing, who you are with, your situation will not be perfect. You will miss the bus. People will disrespect you. A car accident will happen. You will make a mistake. You will fumble. The possibilities are endless. We are surrounded by possibilities of harm. In our own room, harm will find a way to reach us. Isn't depression and anxiety in itself a harm? So preventing harm in itself is impossible. So instead, detach from the idea of a painless reality. gain the confidence and resilience to face harm and not let it destroy you. And this is where rewiring comes in. You might accept this reality and you may know that this is reality, but do you feel it? And the only way that you can feel it is by rewiring your brain. Your thoughts have a specific format and they have a specific language. And because of this language, it manifests as anxiety. So the only way that you can actually overcome this anxiety is by implementing what you know and talking back to the anxiety. And this is a science and this is an art. And I'm opening up my community to teach people how to do this. So if you're interested, I will have the link for my calendar below. Please book a call. So again, detach from the idea of a painless reality. When it's doing this, your subconscious is desiring paradise, and earth is not paradise. In paradise, there is no work, there is no sickness, there is no tribulations, there is no depression, there's no anxiety. Earth is where we get tested. It's where character is built. It's where faith is wired. It's where, when harm hits us, we do not fall into despair, but still hold on to hope, gratitude, and forgiveness. So now the question becomes, how do we find peace in hardship? And here are two things I want you to understand about how this world works. First is that you have a choice. And second, we'll go back to the point of God's will. So you have a choice. So for example, you can choose to get a cup of water, or you can go and choose to get a cup of coffee. You can choose to go to the bathroom, or you can choose to go to the kitchen. You have choices. So some harm hits you without your choice, but some harm hits you because it's your choice. So think the law of cause and effect, and your brain knows what those are. So in this case, where you actually did cause harm for yourself, forgive yourself. You tried your best without guidance, and you learned your lessons. Please understand that this is your first time being alive. Have mercy and grace on yourself, meaning give yourself permission to not be perfect, to make mistakes. And when you do make mistakes, laugh it off and move on. And even if you were to go back and think, why did I make these specific choices? You would find that they stemmed from predestination, from family, from culture, from location, from the era of your living, from the knowledge that you had or did not have simply because of those factors. And again, all of it was decreed by the will of God. So regardless of what you chose, the reason why it happened was God allowed it to happen. He willed for it to happen. The reason why it manifested was because of the power and will of God. You are always under the power, the protection, and will of God. So we have a saying in Islam. If the nation were to gather together and benefit you with anything, they would not benefit you without the will of God. And if they were to gather together to harm you with anything, they would not harm you except with the will of God. Meaning, God is the one who tests you. He allows the harm to hit you. Also, God is your protector. He is the one who protects you. So ask Him for protection. Ask Him for safety. Rely on Him. The fact that you keep thinking about the harm that's causing more pain. You can have a physical pain, but you can also have a psychological pain. And the psychological pain manifests emotionally, and this prolongs your suffering. Instead of just saying, oh, it hit me, oh, cool, let's move on. You replay that situation over and over again. This life is a test. And harm for the Muslim does not mean punishment. It means elevation in rank. For every thorn that pricks you, you will get a reward. That's how merciful and that's how justice is on earth. Every single time someone insults you, talks behind your back, or yells at you, you'll get a reward for that. Any single mishap that happens in your life and harms you, you get a reward for that. So take comfort in the fact that harm only elevates your rank. You will be rewarded for your hardship. And this is how I used to call myself when being assaulted by family members. Every single time a family member would yell at me, degrade me, insult me, I would always tell myself, rejoice. You just got rewarded. I used to say this so much to myself, I would look out for harm. So my status could be elevated. We don't see reality as it really is. We have absolutely no idea what this harm is doing to us. And if you think about it, this harm means bad, then you have lost completely. And I used to be there too, but that's not the case. So you have to make sure that you yourself are not harming others. So don't yell, don't cuss, don't backstab, don't degrade, and don't harm people. Here's one more principle that really helps calm the heart. In the Quran, it says, the heart is calm when it remembers Allah. The heart is calm when it remembers God. So pick up some dhikr, whether it's astaghfirullah, subhanallah, something that you can do daily, something that is easy on your heart, something that calms your heart. Even if it's just saying, Ya Allah, something so simple, so easy that calms your heart. And so find the remembrance, the dhikr that works for you, and make it a daily habit. Make it your identity to remember God, and your heart will be calm. It will feel like steady water. I'm telling you this from experience. Your thoughts are linked to how you feel. If you think negative, anxious, degrading, self-deprecating thoughts, you will feel that. But if you think grounded, calm, stable thoughts, you will also feel that. It's all in the language. It's all in the thoughts. So when you know how to calm yourself and live with yourself and know how to talk back to your inner critic and know how to talk back to those intrusive thoughts and be calm within your body, then that calmness manifests externally. Once you find your core reason of why you are anxious and why you stay angry and why you are fearful and depressed, once you untangle and undo those core reasons, then just everything manifests externally. This is a skill learned, and this is why I'm opening up communities to teach people those skills. If you are interested in learning the skill of rewiring your brain and living calm and peaceful, the link for a one-on-one call is in the description below.